you. Yeah, a lot of times I'm speaking, but it's between me and lunch. But me and cocktails is like a whole new level for me. So I promise I'll keep you on time. I really am thrilled to be a part of your day today. And even just since I sent my bio in to Stephanie late, I don't know, November, December, we've since published another book too called The Joy-Powered Family. So my talk today really is more focused on my first book, The Joy-Powered Intentionally Creating Inspired Workspaces. But I'll give you a little secret. It's all the same stuff, right? You know, the concept is the same. It's about looking for the joy in your life, in your day, in your work, in your family. I told somebody at lunch, my hairstylist the other day said, "Did you quote me in your second book?" And I said, "No, that's going to be the Joy-Powered Hairstylist." So we've got a whole series coming out here. But the concept is the same. We have at the end of each chapter of each book some challenges or some ideas about specific things that you could do on each of our topics in the chapter. And of course, those are different things, but the concept really is the same, right? So if we even think, when I wrote the first book, and we did this with the second book too, but especially in the first book, I surveyed hundreds of people about this concept. I can also tell you, I'm not really the expert on joy. I like to look for the joy of my day, but I surveyed lots of people to get their input on this specific topic. And I asked them questions like, what did joy mean to them? And what did it mean to have a joy-powered workspace? Well, I got back a lot of answers like, oh, I love my job. I get to wear jeans on Friday. I love my job. We get free pizza. I love my job. The people are really nice. Well, I think that's great, but I think there's a little more to it than that, right? Isn't joy a little deeper than blue jeans and good benefits and good paychecks? I mean, those are all make us happy. But so I went back to 400 BC to think about this topic, and Aristotle said that he didn't think anyone in the world wanted to be unhappy. But, so on the flip side, what did happy mean? And he defined 4 levels of happiness. Now, these are from a personal level, but I think we can each relate them to what is happiness versus joy in our workspace too. So he said level 1 is about immediate gratification. That's, I ate a steak, I bought the new iPhone, I read a new book. Those are all good things, right? They're fun, but they're in the moment, right? They don't go on. We eat a good steak, and tomorrow we want another good steak, or we want the next new iPhone that's coming out, right? So they're temporary. That to me is like I get free pizza or I get to wear blue jeans. It's nice, but isn't there more than that to life? So level 2, Aristotle says, is about our ego. It's about getting a new job, running a marathon, getting a degree, getting a certification. In terms of the company, maybe it's winning a Best Places to Work award or being known as a company for something. Again, all wonderful things, but they're somewhat exterior still, right? They're not inside deep about us. So I'd ask, isn't there more? Isn't there more than level 2? So we get to level 3, and he says this is about giving. It's about understand that in giving we receive, that we have to do things for others to truly find more happiness. It can't just be about us. And I really like it to be just about me sometimes. So this is hard for me. But no, it's about having those volunteer moments, about giving back, about developing others in our organization, about training, about providing feedback and feed forward information to others to help them be better. But even when we think, and I think especially as women and mothers sometimes, we can get a little exhausted and worn out by always giving. right? It can't always just be about us giving or taking care of others, right? I love my children, I love my husband, but I need more to that. And that, Bobby said that this morning about this is about us, right? It can't always be about giving to other people. So he describes this level 4 of happiness, which I would call where we truly find joy, right? Where we truly find joy in our lives, in our work, with the people that we're with. He calls it the ultimate good, or participate in giving and receiving. That ultimate meaning, goodness, ideals, love. If you're a faith-based person, I think it's about finding that union or that relationship with God. Whatever that might be for you, I think in a company, this level 4 is about feeling good about going to work every day, right? About looking forward to Mondays, not because we didn't have a joy-powered family on Saturday and Sundays, but because we love what we do at our work and we want to give to others, and we want others to give to us too, right? It has to be that full circle of team where we're all sharing that joy. So when
I've been interviewing people for over 25 years, and unfortunately I've seen these statistics to be true. 70% of people hate or are miserable in their jobs. Less than a third of employees are engaged in their current roles. And at any given time, 55% of people are actively looking for a new company to work for. How disappointing. Obviously, there's a disconnect between people and their work.
I always fade out there at the end. I say, obviously, there's a disconnect here. And I spent a lot of my career in HR, recruiting and interviewing people. And I felt like I could confirm all these statistics, like that I was talking to hundreds of people who were unhappy in what they were doing. Now, some people have said, well, that's why they're interviewing with you, because they're unhappy, so of course you can confirm that. Well, not really, right? Because a lot of times I was interviewing people who had been let go, whose spouses have been transferred, whose companies shut down, who had major layoffs. They didn't really want to look for a job, but yet they still would go back and say, well, I wasn't really that happy there, or the culture wasn't really that great, or I didn't really find joy, so it's really good that I'm going to look and find something new. Now, my career wasn't perfect, but I do think for the most part in my career, if I found that I wasn't truly engaged in what I was doing or didn't feel good about going to work on Mondays, I went somewhere else. But I suspect many of you can look around your organizations and see people who don't feel that way, and they keep coming to work every day. So I was fascinated about this concept of why do people do that? Why do we settle? Why aren't we happy in such a significant part of our lives and our roles, right? So I didn't set out, so this is kind of the format of the book. I talk about engagement, moving to joy-powered. Actually, when I wrote the book, chapter 1 was called Joy-Powered. And my marketing guy I was working with said, maybe you better just start with engagement, because you just gave these statistics about that only a third of the workforce is engaged. So maybe we better get them there first and then move to joy-powered. It's about using your strengths. It's about going beyond your strengths. It's about letting quitting become a victory. So it doesn't really sound too joy-powered. I know that I have a whole chapter about quitting or about firing people. But I think sometimes that's what we need to do, right? We need to remove ourselves from where we are, or sometimes we need to remove other people from that environment who so many times are so much happier somewhere else, right? Because you know what? They weren't happy anyway. That's why they're poor performers. They weren't in the right job. They weren't doing the right thing. They weren't getting the right feedback. So it's okay. It's okay to quit. It's okay to move people on. And then we talk about being intentional, which you've heard a lot about being intentional today. So I talked about this concept of engagement, and what does that mean? Well, Gallup's definition of engaged is employees who are involved in, enthusiastic about, and committed to their work. Now, I know some of you are sitting at tables with other people you work with, so I won't have you talk about this, but I want you to answer this question to yourself. Are you involved in, enthusiastic about, and committed to your work? Because Gallup statistics would tell us that only a third of this room would say yes to that answer. So my challenge to you is, what are you doing about it? What are you doing about it, right? Why aren't you this, or why aren't you somewhere else? Now, when I say somewhere else, though, my message to you is not, go back tomorrow and quit your job. Do something new. My message to you is go back and figure out a way to be engaged in what it is you're doing. Give your current role a chance, but look at it differently. Find more about what you're doing best and do more of it. Talk to your boss, talk to your team, talk to whoever, and figure out a way to try and be more engaged. Now, sometimes that doesn't work, and sometimes we're not in the right place, but that's not my real message to you, is to go quit your job. So when I wrote the book, too, I didn't set out to say, oh, I think there are 4 states of engagement, and I'm going to prove what those are. But as I kept asking these questions and getting these responses, I felt I started to sort of cut and paste them into, at first, 3 different sections, and then I ended up with a 4th section that I decided to call the 4 states of engagement. So this first stage is I'm not happy in my work regardless of the culture, right? Like, no matter what's going on, I'm not happy here. State number 2 is I'm comfortable, but it's safe, not positive, right? Sort of reminds me a lot of teenagers at the fast food restaurants, right? Like, whatever. You know, but they're getting a paycheck, they might have benefits, they might get to wear blue jeans and have pizza, right? But they're not really happy. They're not really fulfilling their potential. Stage number 3 is they're comfortable and the culture is positive. So that sounds good, right? We're hoping a lot of our people are in a positive environment and they're comfortable. But you know what? They wouldn't go to the next level. They wouldn't say anything more in their comments than it's positive and I'm comfortable. They wouldn't check the box, I'm engaged in what I'm doing. Now this guy's got the joy power going on. And I've given pieces of this presentation now for almost 2 years. It took me about 18 months to tell the group, this guy's coming to work. Right? This is not Friday at 5 when he's going out for cocktails. He's excited to get to work. He's feeling good about what he does, and he's sharing that with other people. So again, I ask you that question, which one of these are you? What state are you in right now? And it doesn't matter if you're a freelancer, if you're a consultant on your own, or if you're working at a company with 10,000 people, right? This all still applies. What state are you in, and what are you doing about it? Because I think a whole lot of people are waiting on someone else to fix it for them. Well, I'd be joy-powered at my work, but my boss is a jerk. Or I'd be joy-powered, but my team is not engaged. Or I'd be joy-powered, but I don't get paid enough money. Right? It's always somebody else. We're looking to someone else to blame for the situation that we are in ourselves. And I think we're settling for it. So one of my favorite quotes that I try to ask myself every single day is by Donna Clifton, the founder of Strength Finders, who says, it's not up there yet, but it's coming. What would happen, do you want me to click? There. What will happen when we think about what is right versus fixating on what is wrong? And so his quote, what is right with people rather than fixating on what is wrong with them. I would say, what would happen if we think about what is right with the world? What would happen if we think about what is right with this beautiful day today that we got to spend together? What would happen if we focused on what is right with our lunch, with our family, with our job, with our career, right? Ask yourself this question about everything, because how easy is it to pick on what didn't go so well, right? Right? It's so easy. And even ask yourself this question at the end of the day. What was right with me today? What was right with me? What did I do well? And I don't mean for you to answer that about me. I mean for you to answer that about you, right? What was right with you? What was right with you? And I challenge the groups, Bobby and Stephanie and your team, to answer this question after today, whether you're meeting up tonight or tomorrow morning. It's going to be real easy to say, next year we're going to do this and this and this. Well, you know what? This was an amazing day. Cherish and pat yourselves on the back for all the wonderful things that you did that were right today. Do you want to change some things? I don't know what they would be, but do you want to? Maybe, but think first about what is right. This one I think is really powerful when we think of this in the context of a joy-powered family, right? With their kids, with their spouses, with their kids' teachers, with those around us, with our church, with our faith, whatever that might be. How can we think more about what is right with what is going on in our world? Now, I'm not here today to sell you on the concept of Gallup's Strength Finders, but how many of you have taken the assessment? So probably at least 50%, maybe more of that in the room. I'm a big believer in this concept, and I think if you go to GallupStrengthCenter.com and pay $20, you'll get a report back that tells you your 5 signature themes or your 5 talents. So I just think it's a quick and simple, easy way to articulate the words of what those are. But if you don't believe in assessments, or you don't like it, or you don't want to pay $20, that's okay with me. The question I want you to discover, however you do it, is what do I do best? What do I do best? And what are my talents and gifts that I can share with my family, with my work, with my team, with this wonderful group of distinctive women, whoever it is? What are those 5 things or 3 things or 10 things, whatever it is, that I can do more of it? Because that's when we discover the joy in our days, in our families, is by understanding what those are. Susan had almost the same thing up here. I'm going to get this trademarked really quickly because hers was almost like, no, but yours was almost this. And actually, Suzanne said something this morning I wrote down too that was almost like this too. It's not what we do, it's why we do it. So when you ask yourselves, what are these 5 things I do really well? It's easy to say, well, I do accounting really well. I communicate with people really well. I do really well in business development. I do really well in marketing. I do really well on being creative. Well, why are you good at those things? Why? What's deeper than being a good salesperson? What's deeper than being a good accountant or a good marketing person? And what are some of those things that lead you to be that? Are you analytical? Are you strategic? Are you restorative? Are you, I mean, some of Gallup's words are some of those. Though that's what you need to answer. Are you good at interviewing? Well, why are you good at interviewing? Are you good because you're a good communicator? Or you like to learn about others? Or are you know what I mean? It's deeper than a skill set. Or I would also say it's not what we are doing, it's who we are being when we're doing it. It's who we are being when we are doing accounting or business development or marketing or fighting fires or digging ditches or changing diapers. You know, it doesn't matter what the action is. It's what is in us that's making us better. Changing diapers maybe wasn't a good example. I don't know where that one came from. I'm going to skip that one here. So the concept of the strengths or our talents, I believe, help us to focus, and they keep life simpler for us, because if we especially think of an annual evaluation, which for many of us, those have all gone away, right? But that concept of having a review of your performance, whether it's self or from someone else, what do we walk away from those meetings with, right? But worried about the things that we weren't the best at. The things where somebody didn't check the box as exceeding expectations, right? Because we want to be excellent at everything. We want to be extraordinary in every single category. Well, the concept of Strength Finder says, you know what? You don't. You don't have to be good at everything. Now, well, it helps if we're pretty good at a lot of things, right? But there's certain things that just we need to raise the bar on. And there's certain things that we can really focus and spend a lot of time on and make us have a joy-powered day, or change the world, or change the culture of the organization, or change the impacts that we have on the people that are right around us, right? Just by simply thinking about some of those little things. I had to laugh, Susan, when you were talking about being present. One of the Gallup strengths is adaptability, which the definition of adaptability is about being present in the moment. Well, there's no true opposite strengths, but one of my strengths is futuristic, which is pretty close to being the opposite of adaptability. So it is really hard for me to focus and to be present. Like right now, I'm trying to be pretty present right now, but I mean, even when Susan was talking, I was like, be present, be present. That's her whole message, be present, be present, be present. Because my mind wants to go to tomorrow, and a week from now, and 6 months from now. And so I'm the one, my greatest example of that is every time I go on vacation, I plan my next vacation. Right? So I'm not always enjoying vacation because I can't wait to get to the next one. Now, my youngest son, who's a 19-year-old boy, challenge enough right there, right? I don't have to tell you anything else. His number one is adaptability. And he is crazy beautiful in the moment. But he's always in the moment. And he doesn't want to think about homework or tests, or he's in college, or, I'm like, Kyle, what are you going to, he's in college now, but for 2 years I was like, what are you going to do about college? And he's like, I'm going to the prom. I'm going to the basketball game. And he was beautiful about enjoying the day, right? So, but as we can understand those gifts and talents about other people, and once did I know that about Kyle his whole life? Of course I could. Could I articulate that? Did I know what to do with that, except for to be frustrated with him all the time? No. I didn't know how to handle it. Well, last year for spring break, he was a senior, and so just the two of us went to Europe for spring break, and I was like, be present, be present, be present. Like I had to keep telling myself that, and I like to plan every day. I mean, I wanted to know what we were doing every day of vacation. So I settled in I bought the plane tickets, and I made hotel reservations. I'm like, I gotta have hotel reservations. Like I couldn't even go if I didn't have hotel reservations. But I didn't make any plans the whole trip. I didn't buy any tickets, anything. And we spent the first 36 hours of our beautiful, wonderful trip in the Atlanta airport, because it was one of those big days last spring when Delta had a crisis and we were stuck in the middle of it. And I was starting to get a little sweaty and a little panicked. And Kyle said, why don't we go to the movie? And I said, yeah, that's a great idea. And we went to the movie, and we had a beautiful afternoon in Atlanta. And so that's a story of not just about being a joy-powered family, but of understanding and respecting the gifts and talents from others, right? Now, I'm not going to tell you that that was easy for me, but I knew it was really important for our relationship for me to respect his gifts and talents, and I was trying to make it about his senior spring break trip, right? So the more, think if we could do that, if we knew people's strengths and talents, or we could ask them what they are, and then we could build relationships around that, right? How much better that would be. And that's about, we have to create those opportunities. We can't wait for somebody else to bring them to us. I know one of my favorite Dr. Seuss lines in, what's the name of the book that you get for graduation? Oh, The Places We'll Go. Yeah, one of his lines is, we're always waiting. We're waiting for the snow to snow, or waiting for the grass to grow. And he has 100 other lines about that we can't just wait for something to happen. Oh, I'll wait, and I'm sure Kyle will figure out my style of vacation, right? We have to create those opportunities ourselves. So people who focus on those gifts and talents, Gallup has done 40 years of research on this, says that those people look forward to going to work, have more positive than negative interactions, treat customers better, tell their friends they work for a great company, achieve more on a daily basis, and have more positive, creative, and innovative moments. Now, how many of you would like to work with these people? Right? Right? I mean, so that, or be that person, right? And now I'm going to circle back again. I started the concept of joy-powered and versus just being happy, right? What are some of those things? Well, Sandra Brown, I started with Aristotle, now I'm up to Sandra Brown in 2012, said happiness is external. It is dependent on outside situations, people, or events to align with our expectations so that the end result is happiness. Now that's all nice and it's good, but we're depending on somebody else for it, right? We're depending on someone else to give us a raise, to give us a better job, to give us a promotion, to get something done. But it's joy, a spiritual quality that is internal. It comes when you make peace with who you are, where you are, why you are, and who you are with. That's what I want you to look for. That's what I want you to look for in your day and in your work, is that deeper level, right? Of not waiting on someone else, but looking inside. Now, I'm sure some of you think, JoDee, joy power, it sounds really nice, but I'm really busy. And in my company, we're making widgets or we're building bridges, and we don't really have time for joy power. That's like a consulting kind of thing. But I would say it does. Again, in the book, How Full Is Your Bucket, Tom Rath said 9 out of 10 people said they are more productive when they are around positive people. I mean, this is not just about coming to work and feeling happy and good about ourselves. This is about being more productive and leading better teams and working with other people where we're really making an impact on our work.
Life is not really all that complicated. You see, we all have an invisible bucket. When we increase positive emotions in others, we fill their buckets. And guess what? We fill ours at the same time. When we decrease positive emotion from others, we dip from their bucket. Full buckets make us stronger. Empty buckets sap our energy.
You got an invisible bucket? That's the way to build it, right? So what does a joy-powered workspace mean for me? Well, this is what it means to me. I'm not trying to put this on you because your answer to this question might be different. As a matter of fact, I'm going to read some of the answers up here. This was about a joy-powered day. It's about family time. I did the stuff I planned. I don't have worries. I'm inspired, mindful, joyful day. I start with yoga in the morning and massage in the afternoon. I wish I'd written that one. Getting getting a hole-in-one, moving closer to my mission, making a difference in someone's life, doing what I do best. Now, that one is mine. The doing what I do best. Connecting with many fabulous women. Those are all terrific things, right? And could go on your list of what a Joy Power Day or a Joy Power Workspace might be. But these are some of the things that I look for to help me have a Joy Power Day. I look forward to work, having a positive influence, creating those opportunities. My team is also using strengths and finding joy. Not just about me, I need it to be our whole team, right? I'm able to learn and grow, and for me personally, it's about being able to be powered by my faith as well. So you can think about that. What might that joy-powered workspace mean to you, and what are you going to do to help create that for you? Again, whatever your situation might be. But I think a lot of people still think, and go back to this comment of culture change must start at the top. Now, I think it's nice, and I think it's really helpful if it starts at the top, and we might be able to change it faster if we do some things at the top or set some policies or create some issues. But I would challenge each of you to say the culture starts with you. It starts with you. Saying it starts at the top, unless you're at the top, we're waiting, right? We're waiting on the top to do what it is that they are going to do to bring us joy? No. They might make us happy, they might make us sad, but changing it starts with us. And I don't think we can share our joy with others. I think we can be a positive influence. I think we can be a person who people want to be around. But I think we can share those messages with people. We can ask other people, what does a Joy Power Workspace mean to them, and how can we help them create it too? How can we work together to help create it? Just start with our department, with our team, with our silo, with our location, whatever that might be. So it's, life is not all just about our Joy Power Workspaces. I think it begins with understanding what our strengths are, doing what we do best, and doing more. But I could tell you 25 other things we could do too, right, to add on to that. These are some things I talk about in the book that I think are most important: recognizing and appreciating others, using our creativity, setting expectations, making the connection, and moving forward or being intentional. Now I'm going to go through some of these really quickly, but a couple of them that I love. Gallup says only 65% of Americans receive recognition. That's not today. That's not last week. That's not in 2017. That is ever. 35% of Americans do not receive any recognition ever. Think about that when you walk by somebody going out of here saying thank you or saying well done or giving someone recognition. Creativity, I'm really big on this concept of creativity because you heard I was a practicing accountant, auditor, CPA for 9 years. It wasn't actually a good thing to be known as creative in the accounting world, right? So I was almost like, I'm not creative, I'm not creative, I'm not creative. And one day I moved into HR, and literally within a week at the same company, with the same people I had worked with for 9 years, one of the partners said, "JoDee, you are so creative." I was like, what? Where did that come from? But it sort of unleashed this whole new thing within me about the power of creativity. Most adults use no more than perhaps 10% of their creativity. Yet when we're doing what we do best and we're using our strengths to do it, our creativity goes way up. That's some of the things I do to help increase my creativity. Some of the things that Susan mentioned up there too. She talked about taking breaks. I never had a dog until I was 50 years old, and then I was working from home at the time, so I had to walk the dog. I thought only people who smoked got breaks, right? So I've never taken a break in 50 years. Well, not an official break. And then I was taking breaks to walk my dog, and I was like, wow, like this is a really good thing. You know, it gave me time to think and be mindful, and so I'm a big believer in that too. Setting expectations, creating the connection for people or for yourself. What's your connection to your organization? What is it that you're doing that is impacting the mission and values of your organization? Because if we can figure that out, and maybe even more importantly, help others figure that out, help our team figure that out, that there's an important, should be an important link to every single job in the organization and what we're doing to make those connections. And then being intentional, again, as we've heard many times. I think some people want it to happen, some wish it would happen, and others make it happen. Which one of those are you? Are you one hoping it's going to happen, or are you making it happen? These, again, are some things that I try and do. This is not your list. This is my list of things I try and do to help me be more intentional. And I have aligned mine with my top 5 signature strengths because that helps me to focus on them. It helps me to do more of what I'm doing in the process. So what are you doing? Because I just gave you my list and I wrote a whole book about it. And I want you to say, what are you doing to be more intentional and looking for that? A friend of mine, Bonnie Mormon, said, it is our choice, our option to look for the joy each day. And when it is harder to find it, we have to create it. And I'm not suggesting that's easy, right? I'm just saying think about doing it. And then St. Pope John Paul II said, I get up, or someone asked him, why do you get up so early every day? And he said, I get up before dawn because I enjoy watching the sunrise. Such a simple thing, right? So what, are you looking for the joy, or are you sleeping through yours? Or are you getting up to look for that? And what are you doing to find that joy? So, little plug here. Stephanie mentioned we have a podcast on Joy Powered. You can download that from where you get your podcasts if you're interested. It is work-focused, both for employees and leaders. And then this is our new book, The Joy Powered Family. So I have both of our books back there if you're interested in those. This is my signature on my email. So at Purple Ink, we list our strengths on our email. We have them on our business cards. It helps us keep those in front of us and in front of each other too, right? To remind us what those gifts and talents are that we can use to find our joy power. And I think it's time for drinks.